everyone would join with us in the pledge of allegiance to start off.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out this evening, whether it be involuntary or voluntary, as the case may be. We do have a lot of good topics on our agenda tonight, which will be worthwhile for all of us. We start by approving the minutes of the September 16, 2014 meeting.
So moved.
Mr. Wilkerson made the motion, Ms. Smith seconded. Done all yes?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, did anyone sign in, Jeff?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, under presentations, our first is Leroy Burgess with the Helping Hands Food Pantry backpack program.
Yes, sir.
It's Burgess.
Today I sent you all a copy of our report. We started last week instead of first week of October, giving to all the schools. Hamlin, we do 45 kids. West Hamlin, we do 47. Midway, 31. Harts is 30. Ranger is 60. And Duval is 100 kids. As of right now, it will be going up, they say. It's a total of 313 kids, school kids, we give food every Friday to for the weekend. Includes, in each bag, we give 2 breakfast meals, 2 lunch meals, 2 dinners, 2 drinks, and some snacks. And like I told you before, the last meeting, 1 out of 7 kids in the state of West Virginia comes to school on Monday without any food for the weekend that they have. We're averaging spending about $30 per week per school. It will go up. On the second page, I've talked to some of the principals and about getting coats, hats, and gloves for the kids who do need it. And right now, we're figuring about 250 kids. And I can get the hats, coat, and the glove, all one set, for $7 a set. So that would come roughly around $1,700. And then shipping and handling is another $125, but there's no taxes because we're a 501c3. Well, I'm here today to tell you is that on the third page, is this for September, we just finished it today, our giveaway. We did 500 senior citizens, all adults from 18 to 59, we did 433. Number of children from birth to 17 was 686. It came out to people in Lincoln County, we gave 1,629 orders. And below, you'll see the daycare or children program, which is the backpack program. It comes to 313 kids each week. It comes out to 1,252 kids we serve per month. That's just on a 4-week period. I'm here to ask you if you can try to help us in any way with a can drive. Ask some of the schools to do a can drive for us. I've contacted a couple of the schools. They said that they would do it. Other couple of schools said they would think they would have to get permission of the school board to do it. We're the only pantry in Lincoln County that does the backpack program. I do all 6 elementary schools. And as right now, there's 4 pantries in Lincoln County. No one else wants to do it. So I would ask you that if you would do it, ask them to do a can drive for us, that it would be marked for Helping Hands Food Pantry, the backpack program. And what we do is, and I've talked to our board members, that whatever food we get from that school, it will go right back to that school when we make the orders up. And we took some pictures of last week. They didn't come out that great, but all these orders, let me pass them around. All them orders in the boxes are for the schools. We take it to the boxes, to the schools. We give it to the counselor or the principal, and then we leave, and they give it out on Fridays to the kids. That way they don't know who's bringing the food in to them. But I really urging you that to please think about us, pray for us, our pantry, and give us good compliments, because, you know, we already doing this because me and my brother and his wife and my wife feels that the kids in Lincoln County deserve better. And that's what we're trying to do. I mean, I've already had 2 strokes at the pantry. I'm not supposed to be doing this work, but I can't turn a child down. And that's why I'm here today, to tell you. So if you please, put us on the agenda for next meeting.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Briggs, I'm sure I speak for all members, but we understand the need. We do have children, unfortunately, and adults too, that don't have adequate food. I know many of us have seen them come in after the weekend, and you can identify them quickly because they don't hesitate to go start eating breakfast.
Like for breakfast.
So we understand that, and we think it's, you know, and commend you and all of you all for your work in helping to address this need. You're doing it of your own good graces and all. But as we talk, and, you know, obviously the board is not allowed to give you funds as
That's okay.
legally, but I believe that most of us would be agreeable to the allowing the school to participate. Now, we'll state that in such a way that it would be voluntarily on their part. We're not going to mandate they do it, but as you see, most of them do it anyway. And as I explained to you earlier, we can't act on that tonight, but if the board's willing, we'll put it on our agenda for next week. And we will act on it, giving all schools permission to collect at their schools, and all the foods there that are collected will go to you all. You all pick up at the school, correct?
Yes, we will.
And what did we decide you would pick up every?
We'll pick up, as we're dropping off the next week's stuff, we'll just pick up.
So on a
whatever
weekly
they have.
basis?
Yeah, so
Okay.
whatever will be there. we'll just
I have to
take
go to
out
all
the
the
way.
schools.
Well, it's better that way, because there may be an issue as far as storing
Yeah,
stuff.
that's what I figured too.
Yeah,
That's
so
what-
we would permit that, and then with the permission of the principal of the school, you mentioned like at ball games and things like that, you all would set up near maybe where the entrance is, and if people wanted to bring things and donate there, we would include that too. But once again, it'll be contingent upon the schools wanting to participate in, the
I
principal.
talked to a couple of schools and they said that, about like dances for the kids or football game or anything.
Right.
But I would have to get permission from you for, an okay for me to sit inside the school property.
Well, I think Mrs. Powell can word that in such a way that it'd be meant for school activities, and we could just broaden it if we could, Brenda, to where it could encompass, whether it be ball games or dances or any activity in school, in addition to maybe the weekly pickups at the school. You do it that way, Mr. Burgess. And then, I don't know if there's any other thing involved, but Mrs. Lucas said on the 14th, they have a principals meeting each month. So if we were able to approve it next week on the 7th, then that, of course, all the schools will get a copy of our agendas and see that we've approved it. And then Mrs. Lucas has said that she will communicate that to the principals when they meet on the 14th. So,
I met with Huntington Food Bank on a call today, and they advised me that Lincoln High School has their own pantry. They take care of the Guyan Valley Middle School. So they don't need us as of right now. They
Okay.
might, when they run out of food, they might ask us to help
well, I
build.
noticed the Guy Valley wasn't on there either, so I
Yeah,
know.
yes.
Okay.
The high school's taking care of Guyan Valley.
Okay, great. We don't want to interfere with the program, so.
I don't want something new on this program.
Yeah, but after that communication goes out there, if you will go and meet with the principal at each school, and if they want to participate, we'll
Like
work
I
out.
said, I have a couple schools already doing it, but a couple of them said that they weren't sure if the school board would allow it, and if they had a dance, if we should come up and show up and collect food, will be on school property, so we have to have the board permission to be on
Well,
property.
they did as they should to make sure they could do it, because that's what we wanted to know. We wanted to know if legally, we found that we couldn't give you monetarily, you could get money, but that we could do something like this. So I think we can work that out.
Well, I want to let you all know that
Okay.
all of our board members are all been cleared. We don't have no criminal record or nothing. That's one thing that the Huntington Food Bank did an investigation on us, to make sure we were all clear.
Good.
And I appreciate a couple of prisons this year. So I know I'm clear, but we have federal clearance, to go, because we force USDA food. You have to have a federal clearance for food.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, and that, that people who do give feel like that it's gonna be used for a worthwhile purpose. Because the last thing we would want was something to happen where the food wasn't going where it was directed, because then in the future, people be reluctant to get it. But I think we're.
That's why what we tried to do is come back and show you exactly where everything goes.
Right.
We do that to any place we go. We always come back like once a month and bring you a list of what we've collected and where it's been dispersed.
Okay.
That way you know where it's going, it's like we're all family, instead of us being separate and you just don't know where everything's going.
Right,
This
that's a
way
good
you
idea.
all know where it's going. We do it in Lincoln County, we do it in the town of Hamlin. We just want to make sure that everybody sees, where everything that comes in is dispersed.
Good,
You know,
great
that's the
idea.
way I got it set up.
That's a good idea. That will be, you give us follow-ups every now and then when you feel
I have
perfect.
a copy of it.
Okay.
I gave her a copy of our 501c3.
Okay.
I just want to show everybody, while everybody's here, the one principal knows us, we delivered last week. The kids get these meals, they're pre-packed, we pay 19 cents a pound for them. It has breakfast, lunch, and a dinner in it, plus juices. We also give them crackers, so they can snack on them. We also give them some juices or water, sometimes it's both. And always kids love to have a little cracker or a little egg. All this food we buy at 19 cents a pound, 200 food banks, but right now, they don't have no more food. So we're gonna have to start going to a wholesale house and buying food. And they don't know when they're gonna get any food. They got the USDA food, but that doesn't help much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
You got those on.
okay,
Like-
thank you.
All right, thanks, we appreciate it.
Thank you very much, sir.
Appreciate all the work you all do.
God bless you.
Okay, next, I think he just slid in here.
I don't need you to pick it or anything on the way here, but
Mike Hall's with us from the School Building Authority in West Virginia.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? Excuse my tardiness.
Glad to
I try
have you
to
here.
allow for traffic, but sometimes it doesn't cooperate.
You timed it perfectly.
I don't want to take a lot of your time this evening. I wanted to basically pass along some information, some happenings at the SBA, as well as ask you some questions. For those of you that don't know, yesterday during the regular meeting of the School Building Authority, we changed our funding cycles back to what they were approximately 8 years ago. We no longer will be funding needs projects in March and April. We will now be doing that in November, December. Interviews will be in November. Funding will be in December. There will be no needs funding cycle in April of 2015. The next needs funding cycle will occur in November. Will be interviews in December, will be the awards of needs projects. So there's going to be a gap here. Now that allows us to do two things. For one, it increases the amount of money we're allowed to distribute. And it allows us to make some changes that we've been wanting to make in our policy and procedures. So it gives us a little window.
So this coming November and December, is that a lull in that?
We'll still have our MIP funding, which you guys have already submitted. You folks have already submitted a project for MIP.
Okay.
That will still take place. So in December, I believe it's December 15th, we will have the award meeting for MIP projects. Now back to MIP. Those are going to move around to April or to March. So this is really back to the cycle that we used to have before. The cycle was originally changed for political reasons. It made sense when we were going to the bond market to have those meetings coincide with the legislative session, which made it easier for us to verify funds and move forward with funding projects according to our bond sales. We've kind of done all of that we can do. So we will no longer be selling bonds to generate excess funds. It'll just be,
Yeah, the project like we just submitted, when will those be?
that'll still be awarded in December.
That's
This
still-
MIP cycle is solid. It's
Then the
fine.
next one will be March 8th.
You'll get a memo very shortly from David Sneed that will outline all of these dates that she can look forward to all of you. That was one thing I just wanted to pass along. It's not the reason I'm here. But I wanted to, while I was here, go ahead and give you that information so that you're aware.
We appreciate it.
I've had some discussions with staff recently, and the superintendent, about upcoming projects for Lincoln County. And I've been doing a lot of research. One thing that we're trying to do at the SBA is be much more proactive in assisting counties in preparing projects for both MIP and need submission. We want to make sure it's a project, for one, that the county is comfortable with, that the citizens will support, that the board supports, and that it's a project that the SBA and the state can get behind and spend state taxpayer dollars on. So we're trying to be a lot more upfront in how those projects are chosen and make sure we work with you collectively in preparing those projects. That's kind of where my question comes from. Where are we headed in Lincoln County? That may be a question you're ready to answer right now. But I know coming off the bond and the projects that we had set forth in that bond call, and I say we because I like to think I was very active in preparation of that. I kind of have an idea of where you want to go, but we want to get a better sense of your feeling and how you feel you want the county to, what direction you want the county to move in. And I guess that's why I'm here. That may be a discussion for us to have an executive session or work session or however you want to do that. That may not be something we want to have right now.
You know, Mike, so much of that's going to be dependent upon funding. You know,
Right.
what local funding would be required, what local funding would be available, those kind of things. And obviously the project that we'd be seeking, but like you say, we've not really had any discussion about this, so.
Well, we do have some more time now, so that's a good thing. Let me address funding briefly. That's something we're trying to change. In the past, there's been that unspoken match that has been not required, but desired by the school building authority. We're doing our best to eliminate that thought completely. It's going to be an issue of what can a county afford rather than what constitutes a certain percentage of match. And that's something that the current administration and the governor's office are really trying to institute. They want to take away that thought that if you don't have a certain amount of money, you don't need to come for funding. And they don't want that to be the case.
But what you get with that funding had changed. You cannot buy land with it. I mean,
No, well, it doesn't count towards your local match. If you purchase property, there's a little gray area there, depending on how we word it. Property purchase can count toward a local contribution if we handle it right. But that really comes to us working together. I'll be available anytime you need me to, with Ms. Lucas, with you as a board, however you want to address that. But it really comes down to how you present the project. We've done some studies, both originating from the SBA, one from West Virginia University, that showed how much $1 million was worth to Kanawha County. Well, $1 million in Kanawha County is like $150,000 in Lincoln County. So you have to take that into account.
I guess my question really was, SBA will not give you money to buy property with.
We cannot give you money to
Okay.
purchase property.
That has not
Correct.
changed. That part has not
That
changed.
part has not changed. We do not fund athletic facilities
Right.
outside of gymnasiums because that is educational space. None of that has changed.
Okay.
But there are a lot of misconceptions about how we award, and we want to make sure that everyone understands that we're doing our best to make sure that the counties that maybe don't have a large lump sum of cash sitting around still get equal opportunity.
That's a worthy
Yes,
goal.
absolutely.
But you know, we attempted to do some things locally that didn't fare very well, to say the least. But at the same time, we still have those needs.
Right.
And we, now, once again, just for clarification, when would this cycle that we to potentially submit a plan, wouldn't that be?
The submission would actually, we don't have that date established completely yet. My guesstimate is probably going to be September, October of 2015 would be the submission date for an upcoming needs project. Interviews would be in November, right, interviews would be in November, award would be in December. So again, that date's not set in stone yet. We don't have that, hopefully soon, Ms. Lucas, in the next couple of days, you'll get a letter from David Sneed actually outlining the new cycles.
So we're looking at, well, about a year from now then, right?
Correct, correct.
That we
Right.
have to make some decisions, and what we thought, and if we felt that that's the direction we wanted to go, we could submit it at that
Right.
time. We have about a year.
Now, having made the previous statement about local funding, that doesn't mean we're not going to look very favorably upon bond projects. And being a resident of a local bond county, a county that just passed a bond, I'm a resident of Wayne County. I know how it feels to have one fail miserably. And then how it feels to have one pass, right on the heels. I think with proper planning and with a good project package that the citizens can get behind and the right amount of money, it's a fine line, but if you can find that, that's where you get that near guarantee that you're going to get funded. The SBA has never walked away from a bond project, and I don't foresee that in the future. Of course, I'm not on the authority, and I can't speak for the authority, thank goodness. But they look very favorably upon bond projects, and you've got a lot of time here. So if you have the opportunity to put a good package together and lots of time to work with your citizenship, you may be able to pull that off. And we would definitely support you in any way we possibly could if you wanted to do it. Okay?
We understand. Well, like you say, what we'll have to do is get together and see what direction we might want to pursue, and if we feel that's a realistic option or not, obviously. We're still trying to mend our wounds a little bit.
Trust me. I know exactly what you mean.
But at the same time, those, particularly a couple of schools we have are in dire need.
Well, I think that's what troubles me. We have the same situation in Wayne County with a couple of schools. You open a nice, new, beautiful consolidated high school because you have some middle schools that you don't want to use as high schools. You don't want to keep kids in those. Well, guess what? Now those are all middle schools. So now those are all middle school spaces. Well, now what do? You've still got kids in spaces you didn't want kids in spaces before. So I think that needs to be, in my point of view, this is simply my opinion. I would love to help you move forward from that point and find a way to bring this county up in facilities where it ought to be and get these kids out of some of the buildings that for one, we wanted them out of before, but that we're still.
Well, you know, you're probably familiar with, at Midway and Guyan Valley, both are dire need. Guyan Valley may be one of the oldest schools in the state now. I think it is. And I know 30 years ago when we renovated it then from a bond call, we discovered things we didn't even know were wrong with it when we started digging in there. But I think we certainly need to look at things, and we may well want to pursue something.
Well, I would definitely make myself available to Ms. Lucas, her staff, to you. If you have any questions or any needs, please don't hesitate.
What we might do, Mike, some future time after we have some time to think about it, we might ask that you come back and we have a little bit better feel exactly what direction we may want, we may have additional questions.
Absolutely, love to do it. Okay. Happy to come.
But we sure appreciate you coming out.
Thanks for having me.
Letting us know that there's still hope out there for you.
Absolutely, absolutely, and there's a lot of possibility here in Lincoln County. We've done great things so far. You guys have done great things so far, and there's still a lot to be done. And I look forward to being part of it.
Well, some of our kids are in facilities now that are modern and work that they should be in, and we want to. Our goal is for them all to have schools like that. So with your help, we can get that done.
Hopefully.
Anybody else have anything else?
Thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.